that Flash Wolves would be able to have success without Karsa. They thought that was the end of the Flash Wolves era, but here they are sitting at the top of the group, and Karsa has a chance to knock down his old team a peg.
Exactly. It's going to be good to see if he can actually do that, because RNG earlier today, of course, destroyed King Zone in these skirmishes. Did fall behind a little bit in the early game, but that was mainly just due to good invades from, of course, King Zone. And then we had to wait for Uzi on Kai'Sa to shine. Let's see if Kai'Sa is going to be open in this one. Flash Wolves do have the option to ban it away, and if they don't, Uzi might just grab it as a first pick.
Yeah, we have seen answers to the Kai'Sa, and to me, it's yes, there are AD carry matchups that are advantageous, but it's more about the support matchup. We have seen Kai'Sa with a range support go even against these really tough matchups like the Kog'Maw, but we have also seen Kai'Sa get very heavily punished against range supports, plus a strong laning AD carry. So to me, the key is less the AD carry and more the support that is paired with it, and I would love to see more priority on it this tournament.
That's just kind of how bot lane matchups work. It's about both champions there. So one final ban to come through for Flash Wolves, 13-6 to go for that. And as you mentioned, the important Kai'Sa is up. I saw lots of tweets about how dare anyone give Uzi that champion, and might have the chance here. Flash was taking a lot of time to make sure they know what their ban into the first pick and to their two next picks looked like, and they're going to go to Sion for the mid/top lane flex.
So they leave it open, and I think they're ready, if Uzi first picks it, to trade and get a superior bot lane matchup and try and win the bot lane extremely hard, because that's the thing about Kai'Sa. Early game, she's not that scary to deal with. It's just once you get into these team fights, she is so hard to then shut down, and then she deals so much damage. So I'm expecting Flash Wolves to try and counterpick this Kai'Sa here.
Yeah, I mean, Kog'Maw is the AD carry that people say is very advantageous, but again, we want to see that support along with it to really shut this down. Something like a Morgana, I think, can pair very, very well, and I'll be interested to see if Flash Wolves want to save, a counter pick for their support or try to do it a little bit earlier, because they have been prioritizing Sword Art as that last pick.
Exactly, we've seen that a lot. Only yesterday they actually changed it up and early picked the Tahm Kench against King Zone, but funny enough, they did save a Kog'Maw pick for Prey when he locked in the Kai'Sa. So they actually did have this exact same setup where they gave Kai'Sa over to the other team and then had an answer for Betty.
And decent chance we do see double range support in this game overall. Look at their champion pools, and the only hard melee champions they've shared is the Tahm Kench. So we'll see what comes through. A quick hover and not yet the lock-in on Lee Sin, a champion he's been known for, but of course MLXG played that 2 or so hours ago.
And Kindred would be pretty exciting. I mean, we did have to see it come out from Peanut, but definitely not something that has been super, super popular. A lot of people do see some of these range junglers as strong matchups into Trundle, though, because you can kite him out, and we are going to get the Graves, so a little bit less atypical than the Kindred, but still very aggressive, very heavy power farming jungler who can get in the face of the Trundle and have more early game effectiveness.
And I also really like this Karma pick here. It is still flex. You can put it mid, you can put it down support. Flash Wolves need to decide now if they want to show their support for Sword Art, and then we don't know if RNG can just move the Karma around and then find another pick against the bot lane of Flash Wolves. Malzahar as well, being hovered. We saw it against the Galio pick, and it worked really well from Xiaohu's side.
The Malzahar ice has been broken. The champion is back in the pools and ready to get brought out. Certainly looked very, very good in its win earlier today. And it's the lock-in, of course, here for Maple.
And I do always love Malzahar against a team that is looking like it's pretty fragile, right? There are no tanks drafted just yet for RNG. If they want to have range support to kind of protect this Kai'Sa, then that's another squishy champion. Yes, they can have the tank on the top side, but if you get a hold of Graves, if Kai'Sa ults into a team fight and gets Malzahar ulted, she will get melted. So I think a pretty strong pick here that is going to shut down a lot of the playmaking options that have made Uzi famous on this champion.
Very interesting to see the bans coming through from the LMS Flash Wolves as well. Gangplank off the table, maybe trying to get rid of some of the more aggressive options, using the global for the damage output, even though it would be another non-tank on the roster, scary in team fights. Meanwhile, a Braum away from Sword Art.
And of course, Ornn still open, has kind of been the go-to blind tank up in that top lane, and we see a lot of teams grab it right after that second ban phase if it doesn't get removed. RNG can then either decide to match tank v tank, or maybe if they want Let Me to suddenly start playing a carry pick, grab that against Yorn. Camille is left open in this draft here, which has been another one of the big picks, and it's now banned.
And it's interesting because people don't really seem to care what they play Ornn into. The champion is so safe. People are essentially self-counterpicking themselves into things like the GP and some of these tougher matchups because they don't really mind. You can get through lane. You're going to have incredible teamfight effectiveness. The ultimate is just so damn good that it's worth struggling in lane, that it's worth having some of these issues just to have that consistent long-range engage.
And we most likely, we actually just got banned here. I was about to say, we most likely would get it so they can save the last pick for Sword Art and be 100% sure if it is a Karma support support or not they're facing, because Flash Wolves really want to win this bot lane, so Uzi does not get a free laning phase on the Kai'Sa here. Like, shutting him down is priority number one.
Now, does the rush pick on the Tahm Kench, saying, okay, you know, pick the counter pick if you want to. Soraka, we've seen, of course, as an option for that one. Not one that Ming has played so far this tournament, but has worked well before. Let's see what Royal do if they want to make sure they can keep Kai'Sa alive in lane.
Yeah, I mean, this is when we saw Kingzone play it earlier. They actually paired the Kai'Sa alongside a Lulu and played into this exact matchup, and were able to actually have pressure in the laning phase, despite that Kog'Maw advantage. So we'll see if they want to go that route, but you do leave yourselves as a very squishy team.
I also think that's why Flash Wolves are probably not, like, they don't love the fact that you show the support here. Obviously, with Ornn being banned away, they probably didn't feel like there was another top laner. They were 100% confident grabbing blind against Let Me. Cho'Gath, of course, gets locked in now on RNG side. So Flash Wolves, by showing the Tahm Kench, can now actually counterpick for Hanabi. We saw the Yasuo against the Gnar. It was banned in the first phase. Let's see if there's another carry ready.
Okay, and they do move the Karma to support. Roll with their Talia in the mid for Xiaohu.
And if you are going to go tank here, I actually tend to like Shen a lot to be able to match any potential, attack onto your bottom lane here from Talia. Shen also in the earlier levels can be quite strong here against Cho'Gath. So I just think it makes a lot of sense. And when you already have Trundle against a one-tank team to kind of shred through Cho'Gath's tankiness in a team fight, this is looking like a very strong semi-global/global draft from Flash Wolves.
Shen also going to be able to block some of the autos coming in from Kai'Sa to obviously proc some of her damage, and it's a lot of good ways, I think, here from the Flash Wolves side to try and stop Uzi from just getting freely to that late game. Kingzone earlier today, they found out what happens if Uzi gets into a team fight on Kai'Sa.
All right, so lineups locked in. This could be the last time these two teams face off, depending how the bracket stage shapes out. Both of these, we already know that Flash Wolves are locked in for the top four. Royal Never Give Up, very near to securing it, but in a good position here all the same. 2 games up on 5th place Team Liquid.
And definitely looking to secure that second spot. If you are in second place, you cannot be chosen by that first seed. You could avoid potentially that tougher knockout stage matchup.
All right, well, here we go. Mid-season Invitational 2018 continues right now as we wind down the back end of the second round robin. 1 more day of games after this one, the next 2 for the day as well. And a final last set of checks across these players, set up their runes, and here we go. How will this one do? Royal Never Give Up and Flash Wolves, teams with history among them. It's going to be a fun game to watch for.
And we watched this matchup earlier in the week. Flash Wolves dominated against RNG. They won the bot side. They took over the game. 25-minute Baron into a quick finish right after. RNG needs to make sure that does not happen again.
And Flash Wolves really need to avoid some of their earlier mistakes, against Fnatic, a team in control in that game. Improper Baron secures, failing to kind of avoid a 50-50 against Broxah multiple times in a row, and either one of those could have got them the win.
There we go. The audience is ready to go, and as are we, as are the players. Time to hit the rift here onto this one. Flash Wolves very close to securing actually the #1 seed out of the group stage. Not too far from that one, sitting currently at 6-1. Very interesting, of course, both these teams Mandarin speaking, so is yelling Jiayo kind of works for both. Obviously, they're chanting RNG before that one, so that's one-sided, but still.
If you just ignore that part.
Yeah.
Let's see with this jungle matchup here. Kai'Sa, of course, grabbing that Graves, as you already talked about in Champ Select, how a lot of these junglers like the range advantage. Trundle can't really punish you hard enough, and we've actually seen a lot of good early jungle performances with the Graves, especially when you invade level 1 and find out exactly where the enemy jungler is starting, and then you can start being a bit of a bully.
Yeah, you certainly can. And even if you are going to be looking into a 2v2 skirmish, you can wait for your skill point, actually level quick draw. That makes it incredibly hard to actually chase you down in those skirmishes. And again, as you say, they are going to look for that aggressive early start. Have been spotted, though.
Yeah, and they also put in a very late ward on this top side here. So obviously know that Flash Wolves are starting on the bottom side with their jungler. Might just grab the Raptor cam.
With very smart junglers with good pathing, they're often able to see what these starts are and then find ways to equalize the jungle anyway. So I'm curious to see if Mujin can make sure the same camps are taken by him.
Look what's happening on the minimap. In the bot lane, RNG are actually starting in the lane very early just to get push going. That makes it harder for Mujin to go into RNG's bottom side jungle and trade red buff for red buff. It's actually a very smart level 1 trying to shut down the enemy jungler.
And you see those little things that Uzi actually does. He got all 3 melee minions low without finishing, so they did the most possible damage to actually deny, the minion experience and gold from his opponent. And I bet he did miss out on at least 1 minion of experience.
And now it gets scary because look at Kasa. He's running from that red buff through the mid lane to try and stop Mujin from stealing a camp.
Just leave.
Yeah, he has to back away. And now he's lost 2 camps on top side, and he's not getting any access into the enemy jungle.
Raptors red to Raptors red, and we saw actually just a game ago what an invade could look like. Then Smithy was able to outpath and trade farm equally. This time around, though, Karsa with a nice invade sets the camps up and manages to not lose anything on his side of the map.
And a big part of that is also that he has 2 pushing lanes. Bot side is pushing, Talia is pushing in, so it's not like Mujin can even try to contest. He'll get collapsed on, he'll get taken out, and that is certainly a disadvantage that they're going to have.
Oh, I just saw Uzi miss a CS. This like never happens. This is crazy. I don't know if he's feeling unwell or what, but
It's the jet lag.
yeah. And you can see that conspicuous 18 out of 19 CS. This never happens, but it did today. I know, just best AD carry in the world. But really good poke on a sword arc. Gets the shield to block the turret damage, and yeah, that's what you want out of this duel lane.
And this start combined with the Karma going down to support is so key for RNG to make sure they don't get pushed in the early game. To make sure that Uzi, unlike the first time we played Flash Rolls, do not actually fall behind. Because he lost the lane against Betty and Sword Art. That's not happening with this early start now. And Flash Rolls suddenly need to find other ways to try and get Mujin involved. He's just trying to catch up in experience, but he's running out of camps.
Yeah, he's simply not going to have as many camps available. He's going to end up 2 camps down. We see that Karsa is just doing essentially a full power clear. Could even look to take away the scuttle because Mujin cannot really contest that without a red buff and with that experience disadvantage. So it's just a really intelligent early game start here from RNG and from Karsa in his MSI debut.
Well, Mujin will find him eventually.
And no smite for the Trundle means he can't contest the Scuttle Crab, also with Xiaohu waiting right there in the brush, so nothing left at all on the map that Trundle can farm, and Karsa's already level 4.
Champions, baby.
Oh, he wants to find him. Mujin is hiding in his own jungle. It's actually not really his jungle, it feels like. It's actually Kasa's jungle. He can just step in here and own the entire map. Literally wait for the Raptor camp to spawn. Like, I got time. I got nowhere else to be.
This is really nicely played. This is an absolute obliteration right now in the jungle. Smites up at very similar times, and it's going to reset anyway.
But he can just stay around. I mean, Mujin, yes, he can try to challenge for the smite, but he's down a level on that, and it's pretty dangerous.
Oh, Kasa got that one.
Yep. Mujin hoped to get smite early to get the damage output, but was never going to be able to land that one properly, so nicely done by Karsa. Gets rid of the control ward as well, denying even money from his opponent.
And obviously this is something we can see from a lot of junglers, like they know the importance of invading enemy Raptor camp, but it is quite funny for me as a European caster because going back a few years, at an IEM, the European team showed up and they played against Flash Wolves and Kasa back then. Kasa would invade every Raptor camp, take it away from them, get a level or 2 ahead, and these junglers would be like, whoa, okay, we need to start doing this. We need to learn that if you have to bet a jungle matchup, you just sit at the enemy Raptor camp every time it spawns. And now, a few years later, of course, Kasa's doing exactly the same thing. It works again after a smart level 1, and Mujin, he's just left on his own, and he's unable to keep up with Kasa.
Here we go. More poke onto the back lines. This farm actually holding pretty fair, I suppose. Again, I do think, though Kaisa would lose lane to a Kog'Maw, the Karma, of course, more than makes up the difference. So RNG with the advantageous matchup, but the farm not terribly far apart. It's under 10 so far. We'll see if that grows in the future. Mujin, of course, still feeling bad, going to lose the Scuttle down here.
I think also RNG are just going to wait for blue buff to spawn soon and then start invading for that one. If they can force another fight with this very, very strong Graves.
Yeah, and I think we might see Xiaohu just go back to base to actually try to prepare for that. He is level 6. He does have the ultimate available, but he's pretty low on mana. So if we don't see him go back to base prior to that spawn, unlikely for them to be able to actually contest on it. But this has just been a really strong early game so far from Karsa.
Also just a small little point between Trundle and other junglers. We saw earlier today how RNG, they fell behind in the jungle matchup, but they had a Lee Sin. So he started walking into lanes and looking for ganks instead. It's very hard to do as a Trundle, especially when you're getting tracked, because you just don't have the same like mobility to fly in and surprise someone. So you're kind of forced to try and catch up either through a lucky fight or hope that the enemy team stops invading you and you can pick up camps. Trundle really is one of those junglers who is fantastic when he is actually controlling the game and he's getting ahead. But once he's behind, he's pretty easy to deal with.
Look at the rest of the team still playing around this Graves and him getting ahead. The deep trinket ward to spot the red. Let Me does have a TP available for it. The blue coming up at the same time, so we'll see if those buffs get split or what happens here exactly. As Ming trades back and forth, but can't. Okay, there we go. Finally keeps the wave off the turret. And will hold some farm for Uzi.
Now Uzi can push it out again, and Kasa is around the red buff. Was warded from earlier, so they full information on Mujin. He's level 6.
Oh, he spots him. Nearsighted. Battle comes through. Smite actually goes to Karsa. Another red buff taken away. This jungle belongs to him.
It's so frustrating for Mujin, and we might see Karsa honestly just go over to the blue now. Xiaohu's back out on the map, has level 6, has push in this lane, and they can continue to just do this time and time again. Flash Wolves just don't really have an answer. They're going to have to try to make some sort of play. I think, playing now around your Malzahar, who is post 6, has the ultimate, is one way, for Mujin to get involved.
If he can, flash ult someone when RNG are walking into that jungle and they can surprise them and get one kill, that's a good way to stop this from happening, but it is difficult. You can see the bot lane of RNG, they're on their way.
He's going to look for Karsa here.
Do we get there? It is.
They're going to get the damage up, but Shen should show up in time as well. Flash to get away and does not get pulled off, so still running is Karsa. Couple hundred HP left on him, does go down for first blood. Swordart takes down his old teammate. Now Hana be in a bad spot. Traded down as Uzi gets his kill. Swordart out of health, can't even pop the shield. A double kill for the Kai'Sa. Now towards Maple, gonna run away, not get taken out just yet, but Uzi in the duel against Betty, jumps away, dodging the ult, and the attack comes through for the triple kill. And Mujin's got to run away, but the flash for the slow. They've got more damage coming across. Xiaohu gets the shield. Silenced up, the might just run out. No, takes down Maple. Does get traded back, but Mujin running out of help. 2 more autos. There's the kill. Uzi with 4 in a row.
Uzi's now on a rampage. He got so many kills. We kept talking about how they need to make sure he doesn't get ahead in this game, and now he's sitting with 4-0-1. Not even 10 minutes, and they even get that blue buff they came for in the first place.
The delayed Quadra, he's up over 20 CS, and he is going to be a monster. And here's the play again from Flash Wolves. They know they need to make something happen, so in comes the Stand United. The ult here over onto the Graves, but you can see the flash follow was actually failed there by Hanabi. He did not get the immediate kill on a Karsa, which kind of pulls them in and allows Xiaohu to cut them off.
And this is exactly why we said that you can go for the flash ult, but it's hard to do. There's always a risk because the enemy team are there to fight you. The enemy jungler is stronger, and by them investing everything on killing Kasa, well, there was nothing left then to stop the rest of RNG.
At the very end there, the trade of blows. A nice silence comes out from Maple, means he does get one back against Xiaohu, but this is a fight that went 5-2. 4 of them on the AD carry. That is ideal target selection.
And just amazing control from RNG. It all starts level 1. Pushing bot lane, invading enemy red. Let's see what happens bot lane.
A Rage Blade, you don't want this fight.
Yeah, but it is a 3 versus 2 because they can burst down Ming. They'll get one, and Uzi can't put the damage down in time to turn it off.
Yeah, very close to actually being able to trade her back a kill, but Ming is very squishy. Either way, Uzi is just hilariously ahead. I mean, this is this is a Zerker Greaves and a recurve bow to a completed Rage Blade.
I don't think Betty's
9 minutes.
I don't think Betty's very happy with this one.
That's a scary thing to deal with.
As we say on the internet, yikes. And the knockback is going to find Maple. Here comes Graves. The slow going to land. They just keep layering skill shots on. Mujin is here. The turnaround as well with the... Oh, doesn't matter. But Sordat's not here to join in, and he's going to chomp him, send him right back in, and they will knock down Xiaohu, but the chase is on as Karsa just keeps knocking people down. A double kill for Tombs.
And Uzi is behind them.
Ooh, Betty's going to flash away. Swordart.
Oh, we got...
Oh, he's not in range for any of it. He's not going to be able to chase down anyway. Sordat's still running, and looks like he can just keep going away.
Oh, Kasa wants to kill his old support.
He lands an auto attack and will not do so. Swordart gonna run. Oh, let me. Says, let me take care of this one. Nom 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 nom. Nope, just kidding. It's not even cooldown. Oh, worst play-by-play award. Karsa gets his 3rd kill.
That was the greatest call of all time.
I should normally look for cooldowns. I do that so often. It's okay. 8-4, RNG are smashing. Normally it's your turn to start casting.
Uzi in the bot lane.
Uzi, he didn't do anything here, but it doesn't matter. They got a bunch of kills. Without Uzi, it is instead Kasa, who is also very, very far ahead. Poor Mujin is only level 7. Right now, I feel like the entire game he's been denied camps, and whenever he's tried to do anything, he's just been way weaker than Kai'Sa.
And the playmaking for Maple gets a lot harder when 2 early QSS are actually picked up, but here is the play once more. Maple looking to try to roam bottom. He wants to try to be proactive, but again, there's so much damage coming out here from Kai'Sa.
Yeah, and we even see the ult coming in to try and turn it all around, but now it's Sword Art and Mujin alone kind of fighting. Now Betty can join and get 1 kill, but obviously Kai'Sa can just untouched run around and shoot everyone. See what happens now on top side. Xiaohu's ulti is available. Mujin, oh, poor guy. Please let him get a camp.
He's getting camped.
That's true.
That's close enough for some of us here. 2,000 health on the red buff, and of course the smite is worse by 2 levels on the red side, and again, Kai'Sa picks it up with the smite ultimate, never in range for the opposition. And Xiaohu kites away, no problems on his side. With the 2v2 top lane, out goes Kai'Sa with his 3rd straight red buff steal.
I mean, this is just brutal, honestly. RNG just non-stop pushing in all the waves, invading everywhere. They're going to get solo gold here onto Uzi, perhaps. No, he's playing it very respectfully. Knows Tahm Kench ultimate is available, so just going to try to come back to that later.
And that's again why it's such an impressive game from RNG, because they're not just randomly rushing in and forcing fights. Like, everything seems to be calculated. They always know when they can move in and steal away a bunch of camps. Kai'Sa is fully controlling that top side, so he's been just taking away every single red buff. And this team, on day 4, they're really showing up, because yesterday it was some very inconsistent performances. Not today.
They are blasting Flash Wolves in this game. You know, quietly Let Me took the solo first turret. I was like, wow, the minions killed that in the bot lane. No, that's a 1v1 turret that just got knocked down by Let Me. The bottom turret is almost down as well. They're nearing a 6,000 gold advantage, and we are 13 minutes into the game.
Yeah, I just realized how that play we saw much earlier with the first Flash engage from Maple when they tried to stop the blue buff invade.
Let Me stay top.
Let Me just stay top, yeah. Hanabi was the one who joined in, and he barely got anything out of it. So every single lane is controlled by RNG, and the jungle is definitely controlled by RNG.
And Maple,
He's trying again.
yeah, he wants to turn something around there. Flash Wolves down 4 kills and 6,000 gold. And a little bit of an instinct says maybe he's coming by. Is RNG able to back up and not be in range of anything else here?
A little bit of instinct and a lot of bit of a ward.
Yeah.
But I do like the Shirelius here. I think that's pretty interesting, you know, trying to kind of be able to, you know, get more of an engage. He knows it's going to be about playmaking now. He has the speed up plus the flash, and maybe even see him swap over to something like a Ghost, but it's going to have to come down to that. And Uzi now has his QSS, so the targets get few and far between.
And that's basically the worst if you are a Malzahar and your team falls behind, so that the enemy team doesn't even get punished for rushing a 2nd item QSS, because it doesn't even matter if they had another damage item here, because they're already so far ahead that they can just kill you. So now, if you're Maple, your pick potential is effectively Ming.
Yep, and people talk like a lot, like you're saying, about kind of that QSS tax that you have to pay against Skarner, you have to play against Malzahar, but I mean, Uzi is up 2,000 gold individually. The QSS does not cost that much. You can have that and more damage. You can kind of have your cake and eat it too here, and it's going to be an uncontested dragon. It's going to be the bot lane turret, and it's going to be a monumental advantage of 15 minutes.
And it's just good to see them actually understand that the defensive item is now worth more than just another damage item when you're already this far ahead. Because we see a lot of players still delay it until 3rd, 4th item. Why are you like nodding at me and smiling that way?
Just thinking about, you know, European players who just never buy Quicksilver Sash. I don't know.
Oh,
about this tournament.
Oh, only European players.
No, there's plenty of North American players too. But
okay.
either way, I want to talk about the fact that Mountain Drake got picked up by Royal Never Give Up, because Kai'Sa is already a ludicrously good Baron taker, and Mountain Drake is, of course, a substantial DPS increase for objectives like that. So, and they have a Cho'Gath. Like, there's so many reasons why RNG are going to smash Baron in this game.
Yeah, definitely, and I think that, you know, Karma can help you out very easily. You know, with your Mantra shields, it makes it quite safe to be able to kind of take that damage from the Baron and knock it down. Graves is going to really punch through that, and the potential of, you know, a 20-minute early Baron is fairly high. But at this point, RNG don't have to risk anything. They can continue forcing fights. They can continue pushing lanes because they are so incredibly strong.
And we've already seen today that going Baron is not always a good idea. There can be a lot of Baron steals happen randomly, but there's now the Rift Herald coming in, smack the turret down. That is the last of the outer turrets gone.
And it's 3-0 in that score. All they've given up so far, Royal Never Give Up, is a couple of kills as trades for team fights. This lead now 7,000. They are smashing.
Poor Mujin. Now there's even more ways for the enemy team to walk into your jungle and take away your stuff. Not that he actually owned anything at this point. He just got level 9, I noticed before here. Kai'Sa is just hit level 11. So still a 2-level difference between the junglers. Jungle is effectively just a soon-to-be a ward bot once his Relic Shield is fully maxed out. And then he just presses ulti and pillar, and that's about it for him in a team fight.
Yeah, it's going to be so hard to actually enter a team fight. You know, just the feast alone is going to put you to a ridiculously low amount of HP. With these 2 super fed AD carries, it seems really, really tough for Mujin to be able to get in here, and it's starting to feel like, you know, Hanabi is kind of one of the only ways for him to get back in this game. You know, has to buy time inside lanes, has to be able to drop pressure, but that has not really been happening whatsoever.
No, when you're this far behind, like, the only thing you're hoping for is that the enemy team just completely messes up. Like, it can be around Baron where they end up giving it over to you and a bunch of kills, so they completely overextend and you get a bunch of easy pickups, but that should not happen for RNG. Once they got the lead against Kingzone earlier today, they looked very, very good. They knew exactly what to do to finish the game. It should be the same in this one with this massive advantage they have. And if they can cleanly close this out, then they look like the strongest team just based on today's performance.
I absolutely agree. Knocking down Kingzone early, and now looking at the #1 standing group stage team in Flash Rolls, they can knock these down. This is RNG going essentially 5-3 to end the day, poised to really move up the standings here.
And they're 2-0 versus Fnatic as well, so
yeah,
they set them up really nicely when it comes to moving towards the playoff seeding, which is, of course, a very important thing for tomorrow. Who can get #1?
Still up for grabs, absolutely. So we'll see as time goes forward. RNG did lose as they could not reach #1 anymore, but looks like they're going to win.
I really do like how RNG is actually, playing around with vision, though. They had a line of 3 pinks in the river. They're now moving this forward into their opponent's jungle, being able to fully control this area around the blue buff and between the 2 tier 2 turrets. So you can rotate back and forth so easily and look to siege on these turrets as they're doing right now. Malzahar goes to the bottom lane, you wall them off and you just walk forward, and that's going to be a very easy tier 2.
Oh, they even pulled in Sword Art, but they're not quite going to go for the kill. The defense is here. Maple's in front, pops the Shirley's, but no ulti target just yet. 3 carries all have QSS on them. And as long as Bing plays in the back lane, there is no good target for the ultimate. Easy enough to disengage in that mid lane turret very low.
It's just going to be right back to it. I mean, the turret this low, it gets so dangerous for Flash Wolves to actually try to defend, because that's a couple hits, it will go down, and then the team fight can commence.
Chucking back and forth, but around the rest of the defense is here. Cho'Gath got some time topside, though. He's actually taking away Krugs with this. And this is RNG, just a small advantage, even though there is a defense, able to deny more gold and XP out of Mujin's jungle.
Yeah, RNG not in a hurry. Can get another Mountain Drake as well, if it wasn't already easy enough for you to burn down Baron in about 3-4 seconds. You can make it even better. Blue buff, of course, picked up. As we said before, Mujin cannot really do anything in his own jungle. And Flash Wolves are just kind of hoping that it can plug a few wards into the Baron area once it actually spawns. And then look for that potential completely random flash in, try and grab it, but it really depends on RNG's setup, and they should not even allow Mujin to get close.
Exactly. That's what I want to see from RNG. From this position, from this lead, you should never be 50-50ing a Baron. You need to have complete vision control, and if your opponent comes over, you turn, you fight, you pull off the Baron, you kill the jungler, you secure it. Like, there's no real reason for it to ever be stolen away when you have a Cho'Gath, when you have a much higher level Graves, and when you have full control. You can always afford to turn it.
Absolutely agree. And as they kidnap that Scuttle Crab fun, the vision goes over, and it's Betty getting himself a bit of gold and now some visions. That will stymie the attempt at a 20-minute Baron rush, unless RNG can cheat over the wall somehow. So it's some breathing room for Flash Wolves.
RNG can get a Mountain Drake now. Almost as good.
Almost. They both do good things for killing turrets.
Yes. One of them sadly does not make your minions more useful.
Shahu walks by a ward, and now he knows. Well, this Mountain Drake going to be set up pretty easily. Looking at the vision that Flash Wolves have, there is nothing beyond the river other than that topside Scuttle Crab. So this is just scariness. And they are really not allowed to leave their turret line. Even then, that's back to tier 2. Another wall comes through this time around. Again, Sword Art must run away, keep Betty safe, and this time that turret will fall. 4-0 in turret score here. Gold lead now up to almost 9,000 gold.
Just keep pushing further down by another mid lane turret dropping. We can see right now Maple is on his way probably to try and see if he can push out that top lane. And you always want to try and cross map when you are behind, but when you have lost every single lane at this point and the enemy team will have full control of your jungle, then it just gets so risky to step into the side lanes. And you can see the moment Maple shows up, Xiaohu is here to defend.
And it's so hard to even get the vision to make you feel safe to go forward, right? It's such a dark map out there, and anyone you find is probably going to result in you dying. So it gets very tough
I like
for
this guy.
Hanabi to do much.
Thank you, Kasa. We always see teams, when they get really far ahead, they set up around Baron, and then they forget this little ward that's often being put right outside the pit that's not being spotted if you put a control ward inside the pit. Kasa, he knows. He's seen these strategies before.
And honestly, you essentially need 3 pinks to actually fully cover that area. 1 in the pixel brush area, 1 to the side over there, and then 1 in the actual pit. And then you can have full vision denial of that area, and you just kind of use your sight stone to then ward further into your opponent's jungle, try to sweep that vision out, and really strangle your opponents out and limit their options.
And I can guarantee everyone at home, in solo queue, that ward never gets spotted. Like, just place it there if you know that the only way back in the game is a Baron steal.
Oh, back into the game is Carson trying to get away. Pops QSS does jump out, saves his flash. That was dangerous and baited onto a control ward. Both looking at fingers got him away.
And this is where that early QSS really helps him. The big advantage allowed him to do it, and suddenly that pick potential Malzahn normally brings is just eliminated. Kasa didn't even have to flash, just dashed over the wall. And now Flash Wolves are hoping to get another chance, but that QSS is soon going to be ready again.
Let me versus Hanabi up in the side lane here. Cho'Gath said he has more health to work with, so Flash will force to run. Now Uzi's going to join the fray. Knockup means he can ult to follow as well, and nom, let me gets the kill.
Nailed it that time.
Yeah!
A little bit too late.
Yeah, I mean, I figured he'd give it to Uzi.
Ah, okay.
It's the year of the dog after all. I figured he deserves all the kills. But Uzi has 2 assists. RNG are trolling.
Well, they're going to be pushing down the bottom side, and we'll see if Flash Wolves is actually going to try to go for this Baron, try to do anything risky, because it is a couple men in the bottom side of the map. Looks like just a conceded tier 2, and the gold lead going to continue to grow larger and larger and larger. And as these item completions come through for RNG, the hope of a comeback just gets more and more dim for Flash Wolves.
So I think just let's zoom out and look at the standings specifically. Coming into the day here, we had 6-0 Flash Wolves. We were all like, okay, they look fantastic. They shut down Kingzone in a great game, and they look like the team that will just lock in #1 very, very soon. But losing to Fnatic, to 2 Baron steals, then now getting dismantled by RNG, all starting with a level 1, and then just great play from RNG's side. Now means with Flash Wolves potentially being 6-2, there's still a lot to be played for tomorrow when it comes to locking in that first place.
And it's just felt, throughout the tournament, the key to Flash Wolves' success is Betty. And if you can put Betty behind, if you can put him at a disadvantage, they seem to struggle a lot more in the mid game, in the late game. And again, this game, Uzi's the beneficiary of 4 early kills. They're already being pressured very early on because of the range support, which kind of gave them that 2v2 advantage. And RNG just seems to have checked all the boxes that a lot of people have been talking need to be checked to beat Flash Wolves.
And now they're checking the boxes of how to set up Baron properly. Control wards in front of the pit will spot any wards over the wall. Uzi gets 30 gold for his troubles here. As Scuttle times out, it gets more and more difficult. You can see Flash Wolves have no vision in that river. It's all dark now. They can only see their own jungle, and even that's being taken away. Royal never give up. Forcing concessions now on the Flash Wolves side of the map. Gotta hide back now.
Just a matter of time before they start. They can just do 2-man Baron if they want to. Have the Cho'Gath in there with the Feast as well, completely eliminating any chance of a Baron steal, or should at least. So RNG still playing it fairly slow, therefore might give me a little bit of time to just add on to the point you talked about with, or we talked about before with the fight for first place. Another reason it's so important is when you get Flash Wolves first place, then Flash Wolves will not pick Kingzone or RNG for a semi-final. So that actually means for RNG that they will most likely get stuck with Kingzone in that semi-final at MSI if Flash Wolves locks in first. If they are ever overtake them, RNG can fully decide, they can grab Fnatic if they want to, and look for a better matchup.
Which is going to be very important. The bottom wave is getting huge for RNG here. They're trying to drop pressure towards that Baron.
Almost on the knockback on Hanabi. The wall was there. They tried to predict the taunt, but now it's time for the attempted steal. Mujin, the top side of the screen right there might be the one to steal this one. We'll see if RNG can force the team away. They've pulled back Sword Art. Shield comes in. They can get this kill. Uzi wants to go for it. Does not want to face check into Shen, though. Doesn't pull that killer instinct just yet. Baron resets to full HP. Round number 2 as they keep pumping down the damage, looking for where Trundle might be. 2,500 HP across the wall. Not going to be a chance. Chomp comes down 1,100 HP. Let Me secures it. No smite required.
And this should be all RNG needs. when it comes to finishing this game. The turret already dying in the bottom lane, so there's a free inhib open for them. They are so far ahead that they should be able to just run straight at Flash Wolves and take down all 3 inhibs and probably also the Nexus.
The prep was just so good for that, pushing waves and both sides of the map. The Cho'Gath piece, full vision control, and they are so ahead.
So close to getting Betty there. A few pixels away from getting knocked back to the seismic shove. Either way, the push forward sort of has to save Maple. Out he goes, but that means there's enough space to knock down the middle inhibitor. 13,000 gold lead onto inhib number 2 as bot was already pushed in. This is surely to be given away by Flash Wolves, and now RNG can go for one final reset. Grab the Infernal Drake in 10 seconds. Buy with this 13,000 gold lead and close it out to end the day 2-0.
Such a good game from their side. So good to see here on day 4. Them really showing up. Back and forth games during the MSI group stages. No one really 100% knew, okay, how good RNG actually going to play, because one game they look fantastic, the next game they get completely stomped, and it's just like a King Zone or Flash Wolves running over them, but not today. They've shut down both teams so far.
And that's honestly been the story of the tournament for most of the teams. Fnatic, very poor game day 1, excellent day 2. RNG, really struggling in some of the earlier days, looking amazing here. We've had Kingzone have incredible games, like their absolute domination over Team Liquid, and then really struggle in others, as they did against Flash Wolves, as they did against RNG. So it has been a very up and down tournament, and it's going to make it so hard to predict and so exciting when you are going in the best of 5s. What is the real strength of these teams? What can they bring to the table in a best of 5? How many strategies they have prepared, and how consistent can you play?
Right now, RNG consistently amazing in this game, and it's been a very good day for them, but as you mentioned, an up and down tournament. Be exciting to see how this day shapes up tomorrow as well, and next week over in Paris for the semifinals and onwards. Of course, only top 4 make it out of the group stage of the 6-team tournament, and as RNG get out of range with everyone else, they might secure that top 4 soon. And the turret falls, easily picked up. World Cup give up 13,000 ahead. It's under 30 minutes in still, and they have just destroyed this game. Flash Wolves were undefeated coming into the day, and they have been knocked down time after time now.
They're just hoping now that RNG walks in, forgets about Betty, and gives him a good 30 seconds to just sit and shoot everyone down, but that's not going to happen. Uzi's already hitting him, and now this wall blocks him off. That's the last turret.
Aggressive, forces the flash to the start of the flash, and maybe the knockup is there, the chase in! Uzi wants his dumps back out, now goes to the back line, picks up one, does get the second as well, a double, now onto the Nexus turret, the team is running away, a third for Uzi, the knockup is there, the chop, he's not going to get it because of Cho'Gath, but it is a quadra kill for Uzi, 8-0-3, let me steals it away, but a 14-4 scoreline. Royal never give up. 2-0 on the day.
May not have the penta, but they do have the game. And I think it's fair to say RNG's best performance of the tournament so far. Looking dominating in that game from start to finish. The game plan with pushing waves, out jungling from level 1, non-stop pressure, never letting their opponents have any opportunity, it felt, to get back into it.
Banning Ornn in that second phase, then suddenly Swordart taking his Tahm Kench blind allows RNG to swap Karma down. Okay, now they feel like level 1, they can start pushing. We have the invade in from Kasa, and then Mujin was consistently down 2 levels in this game. Impossible for him to have an impact, and the first fight, obviously Cave, 4 kills over to the Kai'Sa, and then the game was basically over.
And that game never made it to 30 minutes. They picked early game champions, pushing lanes, invade in the jungle. Graves is a champion you can tend to outscale if you can survive on a tank jungle and outstat them later on. Single tank against Trundle, that can be a liability in late game team fights, but it was never a late game team fight. It was a team with 20% more gold than their opponents the entire way through.
And I really also like Kasa's performance. We talked about it coming into it, him playing against his old team. Like, he is considered the more calculated jungler